Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel, and thanks for logging on. If you enjoy these videos, do me a favor and subscribe to our YouTube channel right here at Watchbox Reviews. I would really appreciate it, and I promise to update daily. If you like this watch, you can see it and you can purchase it on our website, thewatchbox.com. Today, we are discussing part of the class of 2015, the last year that IWC redesigned the entire Portuguese family. This model, the Portuguese Annual Calendar, was a world premiere, the first ever Portuguese Annual Calendar. This is the reference 5035-01 in stainless steel. Now, you might note sometimes the watch is called the Portugieser, sometimes it's called the Portuguese. Portugieser is the lingua franca, or ironically, the German language that's spoken in Schaffhausen, where this watch is made. But Portuguese is perhaps the more universal nomenclature used outside of IWC's manufacture and marketing. So I'm going to call it the Portuguese Annual Calendar. In any language, it's a good-looking watch and a large watch. Since the 1939 original, the Portuguese has always been an enormous wristwatch. Originally about 39 to 42 millimeters, the one on my wrist is a more reasonable 44.2 millimeters, and you're going to find that it wears relatively compact because it's not as thick as you expect. 15.3 millimeters means it's not quite as chunky as you'd expect a 7-day power reserve complication to be. Although it is broad, it's not a big bully, and it will fit underneath the jacket cuff. The span, lug to lug, is 52.4 millimeters, and the spacing between the lugs a modern 22 millimeters to give it a broad footing. The timepiece with a substantial strap, you will note it is made in calfskin on the underside and a matching black large rectangular scale alligator on the top. Monotone stitch, a little bit of bolstering to give it volume to better visually hold up against the swell of the lugs. It has a sheer cut edge, a little bit surprising on a slim strap, but sheer cut rather than folded, and the clasp, a combination of media blasting internally, polish, and a small amount of satin finish on at the top, nicely made and thoughtfully detailed, providing you with peace of mind and security against droppage while donning or removing at bedside. Now we're going to give ourselves a bit more light and get close to the case. Mostly of satin finish. You will note polish on the hoods of the lugs, polish on the case back, polish on the bezel, and the bezel itself a concave profile to visually pair the mass. Patek Philippe does the same thing. Note the differential finish between the lugs. Mindful of the fact that the strap may rub the case, a vertical satin finish has been applied because scratching that will just create more vertical satin grain. The crystal, beautifully cambered, an expensive piece to spec. Flat sapphires are cheaper, domed sapphires a bit more expensive, and this dramatically cambered box section, the most expensive standard sapphire you can order. The dial, evocative of Portuguese watches past, leaf hands at center, a railroad track outboard with applique indices, and then inboard, traditional Art Deco style Arabic numerals. A matte silver base, sometimes known as opaline, it has a very subtle granular texture to it, slightly countersunk registers with a mini railroad track for constant seconds at 9 o'clock and a 7-day power reserve at 3 o'clock. Blued hands for the sub-registers, a small shock of red on the power reserve scale, and you will note the annual calendar aperture inside of nicely stepped frames. The month, the day, and the date. There's a quick set so you can rapidly set the day as well as the date and use those to drive the month. The watch featuring hacking or stop seconds. As you can see, you can halt the seconds so that it can tell time intervals as large as months. It can also be set precisely to the second. The watch and annual calendar need be adjusted only once a year from the jump spanning February to March. Case back. Now we're looking at IWC's manufacturer caliber, IWC 52850. This is a automatic winding 7-day power reserve twin mainspring barrel, partially skeletonized annual calendar. You will note a free-sprung balance adjusted in 5 positions. The overcoil hairspring helps it to keep excellent time in any orientation with respect to gravity, hence that chronometer-like 5-position adjustment. Very impressive. The free-sprung architecture helping it to better hold that regulation in the face of bumps on the wrist. A pawl-based IWC bidirectional peloton winding system with a ceramic pawl and ratchet wheel or pawl wheel setup. This remedies the historic weakness of the peloton system, which has been its tendency to turn lubricating oils into debris on the movement. No longer. Unlubricated and debris-free, the ceramic peloton is the ultimate refinement of Albert Peloton's ingenious and highly efficient system. Why go to 2 barrels from the former 1 for more even torque release throughout the full range of the watch's power reserve? So from 7 days of power reserve to only a few hours remaining, it keeps much more even time. Inset yellow gold mass in a skeletonized winding rotor. I mentioned the hacking seconds function, the double quick set function, and all of this with 36 jewels, made in Schaffhausen. IWC now a complete manufacturer. Note it's more than 36 millimeters in diameter, so part of being a manufacturer is building movements that are sized and shaped for the watches in which they will be housed, and that is certainly the case here. 3-bar water resistance, so 30 meters, splash or rain only. This is not an aquatic watch, but if you want an all-around timepiece to be your office, your casual go-to, any situation from formal to casual, boardwalk or boardroom, or if you're a collector with a large number of watches and you cycle through and you don't want to have to constantly reset a complicated calendar, this is a watch you can put down for a few days and not worry about it. It doesn't need to be tended. See it and make it yours on the Watchbox.